Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey everyone, welcome. Hey Matthew,
How's everybody doing?
hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. It's a new Friday today.
Living the dream.
That's it, dude. So we're gonna wait 3 minutes and then we'll kick it off, but let's just wait for a few more people to come in. And then we'll kick through all the agenda. We've got quite a lot to get through today, but super stoked and excited to share what we've learned. And hopefully there's some valuable nuggets that you guys can take away. But we'll give people some more time. Maybe another 2 more minutes. How are we looking? Are people coming in? There we go. Perfect. Hey, Natalie. Natalie's just joined. She can come actually say hello here just now.
Hello. Most like.
No, lovely to have you. Thanks for making the effort. Hey, Paul. Welcome to our cheeky first webinar. Lovely to have you today. I'm just going to wait 2 more minutes, or actually 1 more minute, and then we'll crack on because there's quite a lot to get through. Thank you for sharing your time today. Pleasure to have you. I've got someone calling in from Amsterdam. Welcome. Welcome, and welcome from Vienna. That's super epic. It's great to see so many people from so many different places. Yes, Paul, welcome. You must come to the office, by the way, Paul. Come say hello when you got a second. Alrighty, a few more seconds and we'll get cracking. China and Zimbabwe. Amazing. Welcome. A few more seconds and we'll kick it off. Alrighty. So first of all, thank you everyone for sharing your time today. It's great that you've shaved out a portion of your day. We're excited to welcome you to today's session. Today, we're going to be talking about agentic AI, building autonomous AI systems. So to kick things off, my name is Scott, CEO here at Blot Studio, and I'm joined by Bodika, who's our CTO, and he's the technical mind behind much of what we do and what we'll be sharing today. Today's session, we'll be exploring transformative rise in agentic AI models, and not just how we can respond to prompts, but how we can respond to autonomous agents and initiate and execute workflows on a scalable level. We'll be diving into how these agents are already reshaping decision-making, how they redefine back office automation, how they redefine customer support, and how value consulting across finance and professional services are embedding technologies like this today. So in the next hour, we're going to try to speed through everything that we've got. But first, we'll set the scene with what is agentic AI? Then we'll look at how to design and implement agentic-based workflows and how they operate with real autonomy. We'll then share some real-world client application and the architectural pattern behind them. And then finally, if we've got time, we'll wrap up with some critical discussion around the risk and failure modes in implementing in AI and the ethical constraints that support that. But before we begin, a quick note just on some webinar etiquette. Feel free to post all your questions in the channel. Just put a Q, semicolon in your question. We'll get through all of those at the end. Please do use your real name, nothing anonymous, as we'll be inviting you, obviously, to support that question. And if you don't have mic access, just flag it for us, and we're happy to read that question on behalf of you. And lastly, keep it concise, because the breakout is for the deeper dive. Lovely. So a little bit about us, just before we kick into the nuts and bolts. Blot Studio, we're a global technology studio here, headquartered in Hammersmith, London. We drive digital transformation for forward-thinking organizations. We partner with the boldest innovators, from climate pioneers to financial disruptors, to design technology that matters. Every day, our colleagues, they challenge assumptions, we champion human needs, and we shape experiences that create and scale in the real world. Now, the main question that's on the cards today is like, what is agentic AI and why it matters? So let's begin by grounding ourselves just with a clear definition of what we mean by agentic AI. At its core, agentic AI refers to systems that can create autonomous decisions and take actions to achieve specific goals, often with like minimal or like no direct human oversight. This marks a fundamental shift from today's more reactive systems to predictive systems. If traditional AI is about like showing me insights or suggesting the next step, then think of agentic AI as more about doing it for me. We're transitioning from a show it to me economy to more like a do it for me economy. And that shift is going to redefine how we work and how work gets done across all the sectors. Now, if we look at an evolution, this is probably a very basic timeline just to sense check where we are and where we've come from. To understand the significance of agentic, it helps us to zoom out just a little bit, just to see where we came from. So in the 2000s, we had the rise of perception AI, driven by machine learning and focused on understanding. These systems could process speech, text, images, using models to interpret data, but not really meaningful action. But this laid the groundwork for how machines see and hear today. In 2010s, this brought us into a generative AI era. This is where things got a little bit more interactive. Models could now generate text, they could generate code, images, and a bit more. But we also saw the start of multi-model systems, okay? Models that could process multiple types of input at once, leading to a much deeper and richer user experience. Now, with that shift comes for the more responsible interaction, okay? In the 2020s, which is basically us right now, we're now moving beyond content generation and more into like an action-oriented environment. And that's where Agentic comes in and flourishes. These systems, they set goals, they reason independently, and they take real-time decisions. So instead of waiting for a user to like prompt, they initiate tasks, they make trade-offs, and they adapt to the changing environment on the fly. Now, this is a major shift from passive to proactive collaboration. So, like I said before, with this shift comes the need for a responsible interaction. Like, what does that mean? As these agents gain more autonomy, we have to ensure that they act with fairness, transparency, accountability, especially in like the regulated spaces that we play in, which just happens to be finance and a bit of healthcare. Now, on the horizon, as you can see at the end of the slide here, we're looking more at a world of AGI. Now, what is AGI? Well, it's artificial general intelligence, but what does that mean? It seems like it's the next step, but it's a bit gray. So AGI represents systems that can generalize across tasks, domains, and continuously learn, exhibit advanced reasoning, and then take that all back in and self-learn. Now, the crazy thing is, we're not there yet, and it is a bit scary, but Agentic is definitely a bridge between now and then. So I think looking back at where we've come from and where we're going, a key takeaway here is that Agentic is not just an upgrade. It's definitely a turning point in how we design systems that can truly operate alongside us, not just serve us. So we came from a serve us nation, but now we're going to a co-collaboration and cooperation model. Now, looking back at when we created these slides for you, we're looking at like inspiration across the net, and I'm sure you've all seen it. But the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, he made mention of a quote the other day, which was quite interesting. But the IT department of every company is going to be the HR department of AI agents in the future. So let's just think about that a little bit deeper there. Today, they manage and maintain a bunch of software from the IT industry. So think of like your IT procurement team in your business. They're managing procurement of tools, et cetera, et cetera. That same team in the future, instead of just managing SaaS at scale, they're going to have to maintain, nurture, and onboard and improve a whole bunch of digital agents. So think of a whole another workforce, sentient workforce that's working in parallel in collaboration with humans. This is a world that I think we're going and we're destined for. So the main question is like, why should we care and why should we pay attention? So let's talk about why it matters the most. Is it just another hype cycle? Is it something genuine that we should pay attention to? I mean, there's a great quote from Anderson, as you can see over there, Andreessen Horowitz from Y Combinator, that states, in the future, there will be two types of companies, right? There'll be the companies that are AI native, and there'll be the companies that are dead. It's quite a bold statement, to be fair, but it reflects the direction that things are kind of heading, and we're heading there rapidly. So first things first, Agentic AI offers strategic advantage. And how does it do that? It doesn't just automate what we already do, it kind of reimagines how we do it. By enabling intelligent autonomous action, it lowers operational costs, accelerates innovation, it adapts faster than legacy systems like RPA and traditional ML. It's faster to implement, it's easier to scale, and it's far more flexible. Second of all, it's essential for staying competitive, right? So markets are moving super fast. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it on LinkedIn, but there are startups at the moment that are turning over like 100 million ARR, and there's like 5 people in the team, right? So markets are moving very fast, and customer expectations are rising. Agent systems can keep up with change, and they can do this by automating complex tasks, managing complex and cross-functional workflows, and supporting faster and smarter decisions. These are all the things that we need to make, well, not make, but all the things that we need to do and implement and harness in order to stay competitive in this fast-moving market. Thirdly, it's about data-powered decision-making, right? These systems can process vast volumes of data in real time, spotting patterns, predicting outcomes, and recommending actions. In finance, this might mean like anticipating market shifts, and I'll get into some use cases just now. In retail, it could even be like optimizing inventory or pricing in real time. Fourth, we get efficiency at scale. So routine tasks like reporting, everyone hates reporting, reconciliation, customer queries, all of this stuff can be handled autonomously, allowing humans to focus on truly what matters, which is the end customer, right? The customer experience. So how do we get more time to be creative? How do we get more time to be more strategic? And how do we spend more time solving problems? We can do this with AI. And finally, I suppose the last thing I have for this particular page is Agentic AI transforms customer experience as a whole. So from hyper-personalized product recommendations to conversational agents that feel genuinely more helpful, these systems drive not just satisfaction, but overall loyalty, revenue, and retention. So it's not just about the tech, right? It's about building businesses that can compete for the next 5 years and trying to stay ahead of the curve. So I've put together a bit of a table here. It's the bigger picture table. 2025, the year of Agentic AI, right? So this particular table, what I'm trying to illustrate here for everyone is basically the benefits that early adopters can take advantage of, right? So the organizations that will act early, they'll set the benchmarks for how this technology transforms operations, customer experience, and market dynamics. And those who wait, they'll just literally be forced to play catch up in a landscape that's already shifting daily. So I'll break it down for you. Early adopters are already gaining first mover advantage, establishing themselves as market leaders and setting the pace for the rest of the pack. They're not just applying AI at the margins, they're embedding it into the fabric of the business operation. They're also driving innovation at speed. So deploying AI to redesign workflows, automate knowledge work, and respond faster to both market shifts and customer needs. In terms of customer relationships, early adopters are offering more personalized experiences, responsive services, things that feel more intuitive, and things that give me a reason to care more. There's also a benefit from an efficiency at scale. By streamlining operations early, i.e. if you're bringing in workflows and automation and AI early on into your systems, you can reduce overheads, redeploy resources, and operate leaner, faster, and be more competitive than all your other competitors that are still evaluating pilots. Now, what's interesting is all of this translates into gaining market share. It's not just about maintaining it. It's about creating a real barrier to entry. Like, how do you thicken your moat? Deep AI integration means the cost of complexity for competitors to catch up rises faster. So the more embedded you are, the longer it's going to take for your competitors to obviously catch up to you. In contrast, late movers will struggle to innovate at the same pace, to match the experience of early adopters, to compete for the same margins, compete for the same customers, and compete for the same loyalty. So the message is pretty clear here. The gap between early adopters and late movers is no longer incremental, it's structural. Now, to support that, came across a quote by Ren Ito, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sakana AI, and he reckons that the year 2025 will be the wow year for agentic AI in finance, similar to the year 2023 being the wow year for Gen AI, and then 2024 being the wow year for large language models. So let's let that sink in while I go through some real world applications and success stories. Now, before I get there, I just want to take a step back, right? And let's just look at the landscape from a fund perspective and how people are deploying capital. So agentic AI isn't just a technical trend, and you can see by these graphs here, it's rapidly becoming a commercial reality, and the investment data above is crystal clear. In 2024, if you can see there on the graph, AI startups accounted for 37% of the total VC funding volume. That's an all-time high. Just as impressively, it also made up 17% of total deal volume, which is like not just the spike, that's hugely significant. It's a structural shift in how capital is being allocated at the moment. Investors are not just talking about AI, they're like full-blown double down on it at the moment. Now, what's especially telling is where the growth is concentrated. So if you look at the top of the list here, you'll see that autonomous agents, digital coworkers is up 150% year over year in purely deal count. That's followed closely then by Gen AI for customer support and operations, and then AI agents in the industrial systems, including things like water treatment, robotics, and like security operations. The focus is moving beyond chatbots and assistants, and I think we know that. It's no longer the intercoms. We're now seeing deep integration into complex workflows, compliance automation, client onboarding, fraud detection, all areas where agentic AI can augment human capability with speed and precision. So in the financial services, a sector that we play in, particularly there are institutions, the institutions are beginning to test how foundational models can assist in investment banking, wealth management, and not just generating content or insights. It's great to have predictive, but we want to be proactive, right? So having the ability to actively manage and execute logic workflow at scale across teams and globally, that's like the new trend. The real shift here is from personal productivity tools, which I feel like we all think and feel ChatGPT has been to us, to an environment that's dominated to an area that's been dominated by AI, to now an environment where the focus is shifting towards enterprise process transformation, where the agentic AI can shine, and it can shine by bridging reasoning, planning, and task execution at scale across departments and cross-functional teams. So if 2023, if we look back, was the year of experimentation, 2024 is like proving to be the year of allocation. But now 2025, looking forward, that seems to be more like the year of adoption and adoption at scale. Now, I've broken down in the next table here for you guys, kind of like a use case across the financial services sector. So you'll see we've got wealth management, corporate banking, institutional investment, and insurance. Now, while the financial services industry is often viewed as a conservative sector, when it comes to adopting new techniques, the reality in 2024 tells a different story to us. So according to Microsoft's consumption data on Azure, financial services is actually one of the top sectors adopting foundational models. So we might not see it from a messaging perspective, but it's definitely there. It may not always be like loud, okay? And it might not always make the press, but banks and institutions are moving faster than we expect, especially when it comes to agentic AI. The slide that you see above here, it gives an idea and a good sense of like, where are those investments and where they're leading. So across wealth management and retail banking, you can see we're seeing agentic systems used for everything from adaptive financial advice and goal optimization to real-time AML compliance and suspicious activity detection. These are also not just back office tools, they're shaping the client experience as well on the front end. In corporate banking, the focus is on operational efficiency, streamlining complex tasks like invoice processing, reconciliation, and tax planning, using intelligent agents to act with context and not just code. From an institutional investor perspective, investors are using agents to do fund review, hedging strategy simulations, and real-time alerts, helping them act more decisively at a greater scale. You also have research assistants powered by foundational models, supporting analysts with dynamic market scanning and summarization capabilities. And lastly, in the insurance sector, which happens to always be like a lagging sector, to be fair, we're seeing Agentic drive adaptive claim management, fraud detection, and automated underwriting, delivering faster resolution times and improved decision and accuracy. So if we just look at it holistically, so while many firms may still be cautious about public messaging, under the hood, we're seeing deep experimentation and early stage adoption, particularly in workflows where context awareness, personalization, and real-time action deliver clear ROI. It's no longer about, oh, can we deliver a POC and a pilot? It's about like, we know what it does now. Can we build scalable systems? Can they be agent-led workflows? And how are they becoming a part of our core stack? Now, before we continue, I think this is a great opportunity to just quickly deploy a little survey. I just want to get a sense check of everyone in the room, all right, where we are. I'm going to just deploy this poll quickly for us. Just give me a second, yeah? Let me know if you guys can see it. It's going to come up real quick. If you see the poll, it should pop up on your screen right now, actually. If you don't mind, give us your thoughts there. I just want to get a sense check on like where everyone is at in terms of deployment in their systems. Yeah, that's what I thought. Some of us are stuck in pilot phase. Okay, great. Still more so in pilot phase. There is also some decent adoption across multiple teams. I'm keen to hear what happens there and how it's used cross-team or. All right, fantastic. We'll leave that up there and we'll come back to that later, and we can maybe drive down into that a little bit more later on in the presentation. But it's good to see where we are. All right, just moving on. Let's get into some real case scenarios. I've got a lot to share. So I'm sure you all know who Sam Altman is, obviously the CEO of OpenAI. So Sam made mention of a quote here, which I thought was really interesting. But in 2025, he reckons that we may see the first AI agents join the actual workforce and materially change the output of companies. That's quite a bold statement from Sam, considering they're moving at the speed of light. So it's inspiring, but also, yeah, at the same time, a little bit nerve-wracking, I can imagine, for some of the large incumbents. So going into like a real-world success scenario, let's look at some of the big dogs in the world and how they've been able to implement technology to drive real value for themselves. So a strong example here would be JP Morgan's contract intelligence platform called Coin. I don't know if you've ever come across it, but essentially in summary, what they've done is Coin uses AI to review and extract data from legal documents, and it does it in seconds. Something that used to take their legal team thousands of hours. It's now built on NLP, pre-trained transformer models combined with a multi-model framework that can interpret text tables and legal structures across all their contracts. Now, the results are pretty impressive, and you can see them on the board there, but I'll summarize them for you. From a financial standpoint, it's saved them over 360,000 hours of manual labor. It's also significantly improved compliance by reducing the risk of missing key contractual obligations, hugely important. Beyond the numbers, Coin boosts accuracy, it enhances employee productivity, It helps the firms scale legal operations without scaling headcount, which is also very important in staying alive. And it's a textbook example of how AI agents can integrate deeply into complex workflows and high-stake workflows. Now, rather than a side tool, Coin seems to be embedded into how the business functions as a whole instead of just being a side agent, and an early glimpse of what intelligent automation could look like at scale. Now, from a investment strategy perspective, I'm sure you all know who Bridgewater is. But looking at institutional investing, specifically, obviously, Bridgewater, one of the world's largest hedge funds, Bridgewater built an agentic AI system for themselves that autonomously analyzes global financial data, adjusts risk parameters on the fly, and even executes trades with high precision. It's designed to operate in volatile markets where speed, scale, and signal accuracy are everything. So looking back on our research, the system's powered by LLMs via Amazon Bedrock, including models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. It combines these with proprietary ML models that they've created themselves. It then combines that with real-time global data feeds and then low latency execution engines, all stitched together with retrieval augmentation pipelines for context-aware analysis. Now, what's the impact? The impact's quite substantial, right? In 2024, Bridgewater launched this new AI-led fund. It raised $2 billion. It's delivered 14.4% year-to-date return, a stark turnaround from the negative 7.6% return in 2023. On the execution side, they've achieved 20% faster trade speeds and optimized positioning sizing to reduce transaction costs. Mega. It's not just about the performance. The system has helped them scale globally across 50 countries, 100 plus assets. It's reduced their research cycles by 35% and generated explainable insights for more transparent decision making. This is a prime example of not how do we build systems that not just support analysts, but how do we build systems that actively manage portfolios with logic, context, and execution all built in. Now, from a banking perspective, how do we improve sales? So, how we increase in our conversion rate. So if we look at MUFG Bank, they've implemented an AI-driven lead scoring system combined with personalized product recommendations to streamline its outreach. This enabled sales teams to focus on high probability leads and higher profitability leads, boosting conversion rates and obviously reducing all that manual effort. Now, behind the scenes, looking back under the engine, the systems run on an AWS infrastructure, similar, using Bedrock and Anthropic. They use Textract and they use an API gateway to process data securely and at scale. Their internal LLMs are tuned with a business-specific data, okay, just grounding with context to enhance sales strategy and cross-selling capabilities and opportunities. Crucially, everything is built with explainable AI. So fully audit ready and compliant, and being compliant with regulatory standards. Now, on the infrastructure side, just looking at some of the tech under the hood, customer and transaction data is processed through an S3 and a DynamoDB. And with MUFG's internal MAIS platform, and their Auxer AI processing engine, powered by its intelligence layer, it's been able to achieve the following impact, right? 20% reduction in IT costs, obviously thanks to an AWS migration, and improved revenue through smarter upselling and cross-selling capabilities. And by automating routine tasks for sales reps, it can now spend more time converting high-value conversations. Non-financially, the results are just as compelling. So onboarding is faster thanks to AI-driven document processing, similar to our other counterparts, JP Morgan. Hyper-personalized based real-time behavior and personalization. The system's fully scalable, and it manages their 3 trillion asset base currently. So this, from a banking perspective, is a strong example about how automation is amplifying human potential in complex, high-stakes environments like financial services, obviously. And last but least, Bud, I'm sure you've all heard of Bud Financial. What have they done? They've built autonomous money management. And what does that actually mean? So Bud is using Agentic AI to transform personal finance into autonomous always on service. Okay. Now how does that work? Right. So Bud has embedded AI across basically its entire organization. Now it's done that to support proactive money management, automating budgets, savings, debt repayment, while still delivering context-aware financial recommendations tailored to each user's behavior. I mean, that's mega. At the core of the system, which is basically Bud AI, a generative AI model built specifically for financial data, it integrates seamlessly with first and third-party data, which is very important, through their data intelligence API. It supports real-time fund transfers, savings allocations, and even overdraft protection, all through the workflows derived internally. Their Drive product adds further intelligence across AML, marketing, and scoring. Now, the results of all this effort, they're quite significant. And in summary, basically, one US bank reported over $500 per year in profit from 20% of the users using Bud, right? Low-income users saved more than $460 annually on overdraft fees. Deposits increased by 57 through improved customer activation and retention. And there was an overall 20% uplift in upsell thanks to their hyper-personalized recommendation engine. Now, beyond the financial metrics, the platform has driven meaningful improvements in financial well-being. Its users now benefit from real-time, hyper-personalized experience that guides them through journeys, with money automatically moving, optimizing across accounts, and obviously maximizing interest with minimal risk. Bud's model is a great example, okay, of how AI can shift financial services from reactive, like I said before, from reactive to support a predictive, self-optimizing system that's deeply aligned with users' needs and the value generated for the user. Now, before we jump into the next section, which is quite a chunky one, we're going to jump into how Blart builds agentic AI workflows, and some of the key tips and tricks and golden nuggets that we use. It's going to be led by Boudica. So Boudica, when you got a second, if you want to just join us and take the team through how we do what we do.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. While time is short, this is a high-level overview. I'll do my best to share more details as quickly as I can. But if you have any further questions, please reach us through different media, which we will share at the end of the webinar. Okay, what are AI agents? Let's start with a mindset shift. If you think an AI agent is just a chatbot, now you're completely wrong. Instead, imagine this. You've just hired a bright junior portfolio analyst at your wealth management firm. Okay? They walk in early, check the markets, scan client activity, and read the latest macro trends. That's called the perception. So this is a key component of an AI agent. So we do have 6 components, and I'll walk you through all these 6 components when it comes to AI agents. So perception, that's the same way AI agent digests data feeds, inbound messages, or shifting risk signals. Okay. Then they analyze. Should we rebalance the portfolio? Is there a better yield option for this client? That's called reasoning. Based on the perceptions, based on the input data, they start reasoning. So these are powered by something like GPT-4, Claude Sonnet, or Gemini, or Llama, an open source model. So what they do is they compare context, goals, and constraints just like any human agent would do. Next, they act. Based on the reasoning, they might draft a proposal, query a CRM, generate a report. So what AI agents do is they can trigger automation, sending alerts, flagging anomalies for review. So the important part is to do these actions and for these perceptions, they use tools. Like human analysts, they would use Bloomberg, Excel models, risk calculators. For AI agents, they can call APIs, running code, searching vector databases, or applying compliance logic. And like any good analyst, they remember what they did for the client last quarter, which strategy worked, what was escalated. So AI agents, they carry the memory forward, short-term memory and long-term memory, and use it to improve the decisions. So the next component, planning. So AI agents, they can plan too. Like when we give them a goal, what they do is they decompose the goal, the key trait of most sophisticated agent. And sometimes they make the smartest move forward. That's they do nothing. So when it comes to actions, this is specific for AI agents. Either they can take an action based on the input data by reasoning, or they can simply do nothing. So that's a key component of AI agents as well. So if the data is of compliance thresholds are unmet, or ambiguity is too high, they escalate that to a human. That's again, that's why we think when it comes to high risk decisions, there should be always human interaction in the loop. So the AI agent, it observes, reasons, acts, uses tools, remembers plans, and know when to escalate. It's, common concept in the industries, AI agents are here to replace our team members. It's actually not doing that. It's here to amplify that. Okay, let's move on to next slide. Perfect. So when it comes to AI agents, we do have different types of AI agents. I'll go through like 4 types of AI agents, but again, there are like 6 types of AI agents. I think some of them are not relevant now because the AI is advancing like crazy. So first AI agent type is model-based reflex agents. So these agents, they are smarter than basic workflows. They can make decisions based on a model of how the world works. It will have a brain, LLM. Then it will have the perceptions through tools, maybe through prompts, and through other inputs. So think of an agent that notices sudden changes in your spending. Just doesn't follow rules. It understands the patterns and it will flag. So this is the type of model-based reflex agent. So they see something and they will act against it. Next, goal-based agents. These agents are driven by outcomes. So let's imagine we developed an AI agent to onboard a new client. What they will do is they will break down the goal into separate sections like verify documents, risk profiling, KYC checks, and the goal-based agent plans the full journey and executes step by step. Then learning agents. The learning agents, they actually improve over time. I think you guys seen ChatGPT, and in Claude, there's a thumbs up and thumbs down button. So what they will do is they will receive that input from the client or the user, then they will improve on top of that. So those are called learning agents. And finally, a multi-agentic systems. This is where agents collaborate like a team. Let's think of a financial analyst agentic system. So we will have multiple agents. So one monitors markets, one forecasts cash flow, one evaluates the credit risk, and another agent synthesizes all that into a strategy for the CEO or the CFO. It's like building a digital finance department that never stops or never sleeps. So what sets agents apart from regular AI? Okay, AI agents are goal-driven, adaptive, and able to act independently. So you don't have to spoon feed them. You give them the intent, and they figure out the rest. That's what makes them a perfect fit for messy dynamics. messy, dynamic world of fintech and professional service. I mean, in fintech, we have these risk factors, we have these documents, compliance rules, and everything. So it makes sense to use AI agents, especially in fintech. But there's a catch. So when you are building AI agents, don't just ship smart agents and hope for the best. A half-baked agent that automates chaos only create more mess. And worse, you might end up building another agent to clean it up. And it's not just technical debt. There's a carbon debt too. You all know this, like when it comes to AI, it burns computing power, right? So we have to be very responsible when we are building AI, develop purposeful systems, and it's always take care of and always focus on the outcome of that agent. Let's go to next one. Okay. So in the current industry at this stage, we do have so many myths about AI agents. Okay? So people think they are just fancy chatbots. That's not true. Chatbots follow a script. Agents observe, they reason, they act, and they learn, and they decide what to do next. So in fact, tools like GPT-4, it has memory, and it's using tools. Even though you think it as a chatbot, they are actually AI agents in disguise. The second myth is they are coming for our jobs. I think you've seen this in LinkedIn, X, and everywhere. So people are talking about AI agents here to actually replace our jobs. So most agents today aren't replacing people. They are handling the repetitive tasks, data lookups, report writing, workflow triage. That means your team spends more time on strategy, less time on the copy paste. The third myth is you can just plug them into the existing automation flows. Let's say your organization have like old automation flow. You think that you can develop an AI agent and simply plug that into your workflows. Agents aren't rigid pipelines. Agents aren't rigid pipelines. They are adaptive systems. That means you may need to rethink your workflows, permissions, or even team roles to let them operate effectively. The fourth myth is they are unpredictable and risky. Not if designed well. You can define rules, tool access, and escalate paths. And in fintech, we often add oversight agents or human checkpoints for higher risk actions. Always loop the human in when we are taking a higher risk decision. So AI agents, they can come up with a decision, so they can pass that to a human interaction, so the human can take the decision for them. The last one, you need to be an AI developer to use them. That's no longer true. There are tools like N810 and Make, so people can easily understand, they are visual, and they can simply go in and develop these systems easily. Let's talk about the architecture of these AI agents. But before diving into the architecture, we have a decision tree platform when it comes to AI agents, when it comes to development. We walk the clients through a different decision tree, and based on that decision tree, we identify whether that client actually needs an AI agent or a simple workflow. I'll share that. I would really want to walk you through the decision tree, but since we have time constraints, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that after this webinar with you, so you can go and play with that decision tree. When it comes to architectures, there are like a couple of main architectures. The first one is single agent systems. The second one is multi-agent systems. In the single agent systems, you will have single LLM as the brain, then you will have tool set, and based on the tool set and the prompts, you will take a decision and you will output something. But in multi-agent systems, you can think it as a team of specialists. So one can gather data, one can analyze it for fraud, one can score the risk, and one can decide whether to freeze the account or not. So these systems, they orchestrate, sometimes they are orchestrated by one main agent, and then they work as a team to take a decision. The core concept here is when you are building multi-agent system, they need to communicate well. Like any team, if they don't talk properly, things fall apart. So when do you use which? Use single agents when task is simple, fast, and cheap. Use multi-agent when you need to scale, depth, or cross-domain reasoning, like fraud detection, underwriting, or onboarding at scale. Let's move to next slide. So there are 5 main design principles when it comes to developing AI agents. The first one is autonomy. So a good AI agent doesn't need constant handholding. It sees through their tools and prompts, then it acts accordingly. So you don't have to guide it and tell it this is what you have to do always. Like a smart employee, it needs clear boundaries. This is where prompt engineering really matters. Then goal-driven and context-aware. We don't want task followers. We want outcome thinkers. Instead of saying, go here, click this, we say, help this customer understand why their loan was declined. The agent should understand why and dynamically decides how. Then flexibility. So in the flexibility, let's say a real world API fails, web page changes, a rigid chatbot or rigid AI, it will crash because it can't access that web page or it can't access that API. But an adaptable agent, it finds another route, uses a different tool and keeps going. Then modularity. This is really, really important when we are building AI agents. Think of building your agent like a Lego. One block is LLM, one is the tool set, one is memory. If you want to upgrade the brain or add any compliance checking module, you simply swap that block, okay? Not the whole system. This keeps scalable and maintainable. Finally, reliability and safety. Just because it's autonomous, just because AI agent is autonomous doesn't mean it gets free rein. We build guardrails, clear instructions like don't access to our database, don't access this table, and access to the database should be approved. So these are the guardrails when it comes to AI agent development. So yeah, then let's move on to, yeah. So I'll walk through the topics here. And if you want more details, we'll share that after the webinar. So first, what you have to do is you have to define the agent's purpose and scope. Then choose the LLM, the agent's brains. We have different types of LLM. Depending on the domain, you have to pick the right LLM. Okay? Then you have to pick your frameworks and tools. When you are building AI agentic system, always use battle-tested platforms so you don't have surprises in the while you are developing the platform. Then you have to set up your runtime. You have to set up the API keys. You have to pick the APIs, set up the APIs. If you are running an open source model, you have to deploy that in a GPU server or cloud instance. If you are using tools, vector DBs, APIs, you have to set up them before starting the development. Then design the agent's logic and flow. Think like your agent flow. Always think like your AI agent when you are developing an AI agent. Think about the goals, tools. So the goals will be your outcome. Tools will be your eyes and ears. Okay. Then repeat until complete. Okay. The 6th step, handle memory and context. Agents are smarter when they remember. So we go to 7th step. Always test, tune, and iterate. Create a test case document. While once you deploy it to UAT or the test environment, go through the test cases, try some edge cases, watch the decisions. If it hallucinates, then tweak the prompt, add rules. Okay? Finally, what you would do is deploy, monitor, and use audit log. Even after you deploy your agent to a control group, you always log each and every action it does. So if there's an errors, if you find it's hallucinating, then you can always track back and identify the things your AI agent did. So these are the implementation guide for your AI agent. But if you need more details, just let us know. We are more than happy to share. So we have common pitfalls and challenges when it comes to building AI agents. We have been actually at Blot, we have been building AI systems for quite some time now. So we found these pitfalls in a hard way. If you want to know more, please reach out to us and we'll more than happy to share this with you. So the main pitfalls will be balancing autonomy with control, orchestration complexity, that's for multi-agentic systems, then hallucination and misinformation, how to improve your prompts and prompts, basically, then multi-agent coordination challenges, and security prompt injection risks. This is a key risk, and this is a really, really highlighted risk at the moment. So be very careful when you're actually developing an AI agent, and you have to think about the compliance and ethics. Always, always check the compliance. Always see what's happening there. Okay. Let's move on to next slide. So I can share some examples. I think you have heard about the Apple Card situation, that gender-based bias happened. Then I think you've seen, like in Italy, they have fined OpenAI for data sharing and violating GDPR. And in US, CFPP made it crystal clear. If you take a decision when it comes to credit, you must explain why. This is why we are saying always audit and log all your actions, all of your AI agent's actions. So what do we do? Treat your AI like junior hire. Don't let it make critical financial decisions without human review. Now, bias audits aren't optional. So always audit everything. Use privacy preserving techniques, and always follow the best security standards, especially in fintech. I know data sharing, data leaks, there are so many things happening. So pay more attention to security when you are developing the agents. Okay, great. I mean, I'm more than happy to share information with you when it comes to different steps, but time is a constraint here. So thank you very much, Charles. Yeah, over to you, Scott.
Perfect. Thanks, Blitz. Appreciate you taking us through that journey. Now, obviously, building and implementing technology is obviously vastly complex, and there's a lot of things that need to go into it, and a lot of stakeholders that need to be brought in to make these decisions. But hopefully, there are a few nuggets there today that can help you at least make a decision, or show you maybe where you can start. Happily, we'll share the deck after the session with everyone on call, and if there's anything that we can share, or if there's anything you want us to go deeper into, please do reach out to us. We're happy to share our experience on how we've built these systems into various sectors. So how we've done it obviously in fintech, how we've done it in supply chain optimization. There's lots of cool golden things to share. I think just in conscious of time and just giving everyone the opportunity to ask some questions. We've got our first questions. Let me just pop off here. If you do have any additional questions, please, I know we went through quite a lot now, but if there is anything that you would like to ask, just let us know in the channel, and yeah, we can bring it up. But the first question came from Ranim Korhani. So assuming that these organizations, and but this is a back and forth, right? But assuming that these organizations are using proprietary data and building wrappers on existing model. I think we've all heard the term, everything's just a wrapper. These existing models and how these companies are leveraging open source ones, how do they protect their IP? I assume Raneem's talking about their proprietary data. So, but okay, I don't know if you want to give a stab at that, and then I'll give a stab.
Yeah, I think there are like multiple answers here as well. So yeah, so if you really want to protect your IP, first thing you can do is you can license your IP. But if you don't want to share your IP, then the best option is to actually use your IP within a closed loop. Scott, can you jump in?
Yeah, sure. I think just going on off the back of what Bodhika is thinking, there's things that we've seen in some of the projects that we've worked with and some of the partners that we've worked with is obviously businesses, what they can do is, one, they can ring fence an environment of which they can build an agentic system and then tokenize access to data into that system, ground that system so that it only obviously has access. You can also build in tokenized role-based permission access to certain parts of data. But some of the other things that we've noticed about organizations and how they keep their private data safe and secure is sending only like the bare minimum information to systems. So using methods like RAG, which is basically retrieval augmentation or retrieval augmented generation. Hiding or masking sensitive details. So like I said just now, there are services out there that allow you to basically tokenize data or either the flow or access to the flow of data. So hiding and masking parts or the critical parts of data that you don't want the systems to have access to, especially the third-party wrappers out there in the world. And then setting up strict legal agreements to make sure that no data is kept by external providers. That's now, it becomes an SLA thing and an IP thing, and that's a bit more of a headache. So if you want to just focus on the technology, I think grounding, ring fencing, and hiding and masking sensitive data is probably your best win from a technology perspective. When it comes to AI tools and how you set them up, it's also very important. Just trying to think back on some of the things that we've done. So making sure that there's like some sort of guardrail environment or guardrail framework. So setting rules to control what agents can and cannot do is obviously very important. Sounds cliche, but it's like rule-based permission for how, similar to how you have users who use a system and you want rule-based permission for those users, you need the same framework for agents and how they consume data, right? Access to limited or certain information or people-based information based on the role. So if you think of, like I said before, role-based permission, if you think of where the agent is in its greater system and structure, like limiting or granting access to it based on its structure in its own hierarchy, right? And then I think the last thing that I've noticed is making sure that no data is stored at making sure that where the data is stored is obviously very important, right? But
yeah, the other thing is you have to be very careful. If you are feeding or training an AI or a model using your data, always anonymize your data. That's the key thing. Or if you are actually, let's say you are developing a SQL tool or something, some kind of an AI agent, always anonymize your data. Otherwise, you will be in like information breach, like GDPR violation or any other compliance violation. And be very careful when you are handling the financial data, especially. So try to use locally hosted, like ring fence, like Scott said, or like open source models like Llama. Then you can host it in your environment. You can feed the data you want, and it will operate in the closed environment, like ring fence environment. And always use best security practices, general best practices when it comes to security as well.
I see there's another question coming up, but it's a bit of a deeper question and might require more time. But I see Matthew Rose, your question here around special features for credential management to minimize agent accidents. I think what we can do is we'll prepare some of the stuff that we've got, and I'm happy to send that to you offline. Just some of the learnings and some of the resources that we've used internally to help you out there. And then I think that's it for today, that's great. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you all being here. This is our first one, and there are many more to come. So have a great day, and thank you so much for joining.
Have a great day all. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
You guys, bye.